Welcome to Selfish Confidence, a place where we can connect and be real about how hard it is to be your damn self. My name is Jess, and my goal is to help you build confidence and belief in yourself to live any life path you want, even if it's unconventional. It's time to flip off societal pressures and connect with women who've also felt on the outside by their life choices. We're here to encourage you to grab the mic and speak your truth. I know it can be scary, but we're in this together. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Selfish Confidence Podcast. It is a fun episode today, and I do say that all the time, but it is a fun one because we have a repeat guest, someone who has been here before, and I wonder if you can guess who it is. It's someone who I love very much, a very good friend of mine, and they're here to talk all about summer body confidence. And if you're in the sisterhood, we talked about this last month in the workshop, and I loved it so much that I really wanted my friend, I almost said your name, girl, my friend, to come here and to bring it to the podcast because I think it's something that we all need to hear this time of year. So I got Ashley O'Connor here. What's up, girl?
Hey, thanks for having me back. I'm so excited to be here.
I know. I'm so excited too. I will put the first episode that you did here on the podcast in the show notes too. So if someone's like, hey, I want to know Ashley from this, we did it earlier this year, I think. It's been a while. Check it out before or after you listen to this episode, but you can get your Ashley fix on there. But tell us a little bit about you, Ashley, and what led you to becoming the health coach for nurses.
Yeah. So, if you listen to that episode back that we did, I don't even remember how long ago, probably in a totally different place than I am now, which is actually super wild.
That's what I think is cool too. Such a great perspective on changing your mind or pivoting or figuring out where you are, because it's very different where you were. I should look up the date, but it's been at least 6 months or more.
Yeah. And the past 6 months, wild, which I guess is such a testament too, to just how much can change in that short period of time. Even though the small changes we make, we don't think that they're going to do that in the moment. So I'm a registered nurse and just turned integrative health coach and personal trainer for nurses specifically, and other high performing women who kind of have that feeling that they can't juggle their big aspirations and their health because they're so busy and they have so many things going on that it feels impossible to do so. I kind of made this pivot because nursing itself, I went into it feeling like I want to help people. I want to make an impact. I want to help improve the quality of people's lives. And unfortunately for my situation, what I found was that I wasn't getting that feeling in nursing. I was seeing so many nurses who were so entrenched in the culture of nursing and the idea that you have to spin your wheels and burn all of your energy on other people and have nothing left for yourself. I just saw so many nurses around me who weren't taking care of themselves, who weren't making the time they needed to pour back into themselves, that I knew that was where I could make the most impact, was actually helping the people who were the healers, the people who were giving everything they had to the world. I wanted to give something back for them. So it was December that I really stepped away from nursing and really focused on treating and helping nurses themselves so that they can stay in the profession if it's right for them, or at the very least, just pour back into their own health so that they have more to actually give the world.
So interesting too, because I've been a part of your journey. I get to I've watched this journey unfold and it's been so fun to see. But to go from where you were, a burnt out nurse, to helping people in that field, do you ever just look back and be like, wait, what am I doing?
Absolutely, I do. And there's so many times where I get that feeling who am I to do this also? Am I the right person for this? But then you also get this pull, this call that's yeah, this is exactly what I was meant to be doing. But it is a strange pivot. I've made just so many pivots at this point that's starting to feel more normal, to just change my mind and make sure that what I'm doing is actually aligned. It's not an easy pivot to make each time, but I feel like I'm just getting closer and closer to exactly where the path that I'm supposed to be on. I feel like I'm on it right now, but you just never know. And I think it's powerful too, to leave that door open to what might change in the future.
Right. I think so many people get scared I always was scared. Like if I tell people this is what I'm doing and then I change my mind, they're going to be like, oh, she's so flaky, or she's so like, I don't know, she never makes up her mind. Like that feeling, like the I told you so. I told you change your mind, right? And it's interesting that now once you're just like wild and free about it and you're truly yourself and you're like, it's okay if I change my mind, it just feels so much more free.
Yeah.
Like,
And then saying that you like worry about like feeling flaky, that was 100% me too. And it's what I've learned as I've like grown and gotten to know myself more is that flakiness that we might call flakiness is actually one of like my own superpowers and probably yours too, where it's like, yes, I'm flaky in the sense that I go out in the world, I try and experience all sorts of different things, and I change my mind all the time because I get new information. I think when we feel so attached to one idea or one thing or one path, it's so easy to get stuck there because we can't change our mind. I already said that I was going to do this now, but you might be stuck on a track that's just not even meant for you in the first place. So maybe we can all be a little bit more flaky in the sense that we can change our mind when that feels right, or that we don't have to stay stuck on something that we figure out isn't right for us as we grow.
yeah, I love that. How many times do you think you've changed your mind in your life?
uh, way too many times to count. Ever since I was honestly a teenager, I was like a rebellious little teenager. So I was changing my mind left and right. And then as an adult now, this is my third major career, I would say. I had a bachelor's degree in psychology, did a bunch of things with that. And then I went into nursing, did a bunch with that. And then I'm like, meh, coaching is where I'm meant to be. Because all of those things were just steps on the path to get here. As much as I've changed my mind a bunch, I just keep getting more and more connected to my North Star where I'm supposed to go. Because each of those was a teaching position, was a coaching position, was a leading position in psychology, in nursing, and now as a coach.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love hearing your story and where you've come from, where you're going, because it's just so exciting to watch you change your mind and then go after it. You've never like sat and been like, oh, well, I guess I'll just stay here. Like you are always an action taker. And I think that's the coolest piece of it too. You're just like, well, I guess we're doing this. Let's go. Which is
I mean,
so good.
I had people like you in my life though, where I could be like, Jess, I'm doing this thing again, and I feel like I'm crazy. And you're like, you're not crazy, just do it. So also
And then you did
surrounding
it.
yourself. Yeah. Surrounding yourself with people who get that and who get your desire to change or your dreams that don't make sense to anyone else is also really helpful to have someone there that's like, yeah, it's not weird. Just do it anyway. Or it's very weird, but you should still do it.
I definitely said, you are very weird, but
Yeah.
do it. Please go. So can you tell us how you're helping nurses and healthcare workers right now to live healthier lifestyles? And can your practices also work with people who are not healthcare providers like me?
100%. Yeah, I don't only work with nurses. That's just the area where I feel the most called, and a lot of the people I work with now are nurses, but I work with other like high performing women or women with families or women with so many things on their plate that they feel like it's hard to balance everything that they have and their health. So my big focus in my practice is to essentially bridge the gap between intuitive eating and dieting. Those are two polar opposites. And I think that we can swing the pendulum so far in either direction that it can feel extreme. And so I find myself somewhere in the middle where intuitive eating is absolutely fantastic. But I know that there are so many women out there that also have some sort of body composition goal. And I think that that's okay too. I think that it's okay for us to set goals for ourselves. And so I think finding ourselves somewhere in the middle where we're not in the extremes of dieting, where we're depriving and restricting ourselves and getting into that mindset that can be so damaging, and also not so far on the other end that we feel like we're not allowed to change or make choices for ourselves or our bodies. So I really fall somewhere in the middle. And my big aim is also just to make it simple. And this is where I connect with nurses and really busy women, is this idea that you don't have to spend hours in the gym, that you don't have to cut out all your favorite foods or go on some extreme diet or count everything that you consume. I think that we've gotten so focused and hyper focused on good and bad in terms of foods or exercise or punishment that health itself can feel extraordinarily overwhelming. So the way that I reach people is really just making it simple. making it so that we stack small habits to get to where we want to go, and also make it sustainable. Because if we go for the extremes, if we go for these hugely restrictive diets or spending hours and hours in the gym, it's not going to last. Because you and I both know, like, our lives are going to change. The amount that my life has changed in the last 6 months, the routine I had, the person I was, she's back there. I don't even know what she was doing. She was doing something totally different than I'm doing today. And that's true for all of us. There are huge seasons, there are shifts. And I think that our health and our fitness should just shift with us and our lives in different seasons. It doesn't have to stay exactly the same, but it can be simple.
Yeah, I love that concept of it being simple and still being able to have health even in busy seasons. Because I know since I've started this business and have really like hit the ground running with it, I will say my health has gone on the back burner way more times than I would like. So I love that your focus is on just like helping busy people be able to take care of themselves. Because if we don't, we can't do the things that we want to do. Like, I know if I don't take care of myself, like, this isn't going to last. Like, I'm not going to be energetic forever. So I've been really trying to focus on that, and also to focus on actually not focus on my body composition or the way my clothes are feeling, or knowing that it's summer and maybe I didn't shave my legs. Like, these things that we're talking about when it comes to summer body confidence, and not always focusing on all these pieces that we think we should be focusing on this time of year, like my tummy rolls in my bikini, all of those things. So let's chat about summer body confidence, because the workshop that you did in the sisterhood was absolute fire and so eye-opening for me in so many ways, just to focus on these simple things when it comes to my confidence. So how can someone feel more confident this summer?
Yeah, this is it's a huge area, a big question. The first thing that I think is so important for us to focus on is the idea that we even have like a label for a seasonal body confidence. I do think that it's super interesting just to think about, because there are multiple seasons, but summer's the big one we talk about. And there's this idea that your body needs to be different somehow in this season. And it's simply because we're talking about a season where we're showing more skin. So if we're wearing less, our bodies are also somehow supposed to be less, typically, in order to fit this ideal that's set by someone else, really.
The patriarchy.
Yeah, exactly. You knew Jess was going to say it. I'm glad you did. So we're talking about, yeah, the bikini body, the shorts body, the tank top body, as though there is one body that fits that ideal. And we really have perpetuated this idea that that's the case. And this is why so many women, I think, struggle with this idea of summer body confidence. And I did, and I have for so long as well. Like, this is not something that I've just overcome and I've figured it all out. I've definitely spent lots of summers with wearing t-shirts on the beach just because I didn't want to show my skin, or wearing sweatshirts and pants because somehow I didn't want to show people that my arms weren't like toothpicks. And I think the first thing that we can do when it comes to shifting towards a more confident space is realize a couple things first. So number one is that your body is going to change. It's going to adapt and grow and shrink depending on the season you're in, exactly what you're talking about. And I think instead of us thinking that our body needs to stay the same all the time, that we can just embrace that there are these seasons. After kids, that's a huge piece where a lot of women struggle and feel like they have to bounce back, whatever that means, immediately. But instead, if we just understand that our bodies are just changing and adapting to our lives as we grow, and the age that we are and the stress that we're under and everything in between, that's an important thing to consider. And then the second piece is that your body is not and has never been the problem. Your body's also not your enemy. I think we forget often that our bodies are really on our side, that they are trying to protect us and help us survive day after day, even when we are treating our bodies like garbage, even when we are taking away everything that our body needs, or trying to sprint it into oblivion, or trying to get the six pack and not eating anything. Like, even when we are torturing our body's still on our side. So it's really this arbitrary, patriarchal, societal expectations that are the problem, not your body. So I think that's where we can start when it comes to shifting our mindset around what summer bodies and confidence actually means, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think too, like, just knowing that my body's on my side, that was one thing after the workshop that I really focused on too. It's like, you know what? Like, we are not enemies here, girl. Like, I love you, body. Like, you are my best friend. Without you, I wouldn't be here. Without you, I'd be a blob of like nothing. So knowing that and thanking my body for so many pieces that it does for me every single day, like even for us to sit here and have this conversation, if we didn't have a body, like we wouldn't be able to do this. And I just really try to lean into that every time that I'm mad or looking at my body in disgust. Like that's the piece that I try to focus on. It's just like, no, sis, like you're a good body, sexy body. And I love that. What would you say to the woman who's putting on her shorts this summer and they're a bit too tight?
Yeah. So this is also, I'm with you on this. I do this probably every season because again, our bodies constantly change. The body that you had last year is probably extremely different than the body you had this year, even if you're eating the same, moving the same, and nothing much has changed. Your body adapts and grows and stretches and shrinks and everything in between. So to that woman, first thing, I think that each and every one of us can go through our closet, go through the summer bin of clothes. And if things aren't fitting, then they just aren't for your body anymore. It's time to shift, go get a different size, get something that fits. Realize too that all these sizes are exhausting and can be really triggering, and that size means nothing in terms of your worth. Like whether your size has changed or shifted, one, the different stores have completely different sizes, which is exhausting. But also, it's okay if that's the case. Why don't we just choose clothes that actually just feel comfortable and fit us? Know that your size doesn't define you first. But I also think that we can just let go of the idea that we have to wear any certain piece of clothing too. I think that that's really important in this time of year is, like I said, with that pendulum, like in the dieting industry or in the intuitive eating or body positivity space, we have both extremes where somebody's telling us like everybody's a bikini body, which it 100% is. I do not disagree with that at all. But because we have people telling us wear the bikini, like your body deserves to wear the bikini, and then we have other people telling us hide your body because it's not good enough, I want you to find yourself somewhere in the middle where you just ask yourself what you actually want to wear. So you have the right to wear whatever you want this summer, whether you want to wear the bikini or whether you want to wear the t-shirt. I want you to do so knowing that you are enough just as you are. So whatever is going to make you feel more confident, more safe, and more accepting of your body in that moment and make you more present, I want you to wear that rather than feeling like there's a rule in either direction of what you should wear. You shouldn't feel pressured to try and hide your body if it doesn't fit some random ideal that somebody else decided. And you also shouldn't feel pressured to share your body with the world if you don't feel comfortable doing so. So I think that if those shorts aren't fitting you, ask yourself whether you even want to wear the shorts. And if you do, go get a size that fits you and start there.
Yeah. I do that too sometimes when it comes to like bathing suits in general, where I'm like, hey, like I'm a confidence coach. Like I got to embrace my body and show all the pieces and, you know, whatever phase I'm at, wear the bikini and all of these things. Whereas sometimes I actually do just want to wear the one piece, and not even because I feel the need to cover up. It's just what I'll feel more comfortable in or what I want to wear. And I still struggle with that mindset on both sides. It's like, wait, but like I'm supposed to wear the bikini. Like I am a confidence coach. This is what I teach women to empower them. But like I actually just like really want to wear the one piece because that's what I'll feel good in today. And sometimes I just have to tune into Ashley's voice in my head and be like, Jess, wear whatever the frig you want to wear. Like it doesn't matter. Yeah. And it's us. We're the only ones putting this pressure on ourselves. I've never seen someone at the beach and been like, hey, they should cover up, or like, hey, they should wear less clothes. Like I never think that. But when it comes to myself, like I think about it all the time. Right. Yeah. And it's interesting. It's definitely heavier in the summer.
Yeah. I mean, everything is. There's so much placed on us in the summertime. And I think it's funny too, just hearing you talk about that feeling that it's so many of us are running away from certain types of shoulds, things that have been told that we're supposed to do. And we end up in a place where we also land on a bunch of shoulds, right? Like even if it's a
Yeah.
totally different space, this is where intuitive eating for me too, like running away from dieting, knowing I don't want anyone to restrict me or tell me what to eat or what not to eat, right? I don't want to keep it in that space where there's a bunch of shoulds. So I'm running in this direction. But so often we get so far in the other space that we end up with more shoulds. Like, should I eat this or should I not eat this? Should I only eat that? Like, and same thing with your body. Should I wear the bikini just because I don't want that narrative to dictate me? It's so easy to get in the space where we feel like so pressured from whatever angle we end up choosing.
Yeah. How would someone navigate that who's facing the shoulds, whether that's with food or with, their body confidence or with all these pieces? How could someone just start to live?
Yeah. I think asking yourself better questions in general is always a great place to start. I think so many of us we live so externally, especially now with like social media and the world that we live in today. We live so externally that a lot of us are just constantly on this state of autopilot where we're just kind of going through the motions of life and we don't actually ask ourselves very many questions. And so it's so easy to get so far away from ourselves, where if we started to ask ourselves more questions, we'd actually get to know what we're looking for, what we want for our bodies, what foods we actually are craving, what type of movements actually feel good for us. And I think especially for women, when we start to trust our bodies again, and we start to trust ourselves to honor our bodies again, it's a lot easier to have that internal dialogue so that you do understand, what do I actually feel like wearing today? Or what do I actually feel like eating for dinner? Or what do I actually feel like doing with my life? What's important to me? So many of us have been so worried about everyone around us that we kind of quiet that voice down quite a bit. And this was true for me even 6 months ago. I was so worried about what everyone else was thinking about me that voice that was in me saying, you should be doing this, was really, really quiet. And it's really hard to hear her. But she's talking to all of us. Like I said, your body's on your side. So she's trying to communicate with you. And it's just really easy for us to get so far away from ourselves that we don't even hear it anymore. So simply asking yourself more introspective questions throughout the day. You might feel like a crazy person while you do it, but it's okay. We already established we're all weird here. Especially if you're in Jess's space, you're probably weird. So welcome to the club. But ask yourself more questions. Do it out loud. Be weird. But you're going to get to know yourself a whole lot better. And you're going to get to know what feels good for you and what doesn't.
Yeah, I definitely need to lean into that a little bit more. Because I do, you're right. It's like that pendulum swing. It's like, well, I should be over here, like, because I fuck the patriarchy. Like, I got to do that thing, right? And instead of that being the case, like, actually, like, what is it that I want? Because that's what's going to help to, push us forward in that confidence to focus on what it is that we want. Because both of those, swinging of the pendulums are so not me sometimes. And that can be, just hard because it's like one or the other, right? One or the other, but like, why can't I just be me in the middle? And I love how you focus on that, especially with this topic and just with everything that you do. So how do you continue to build confidence for yourself as a new business owner and as a digital nomad and as a wife and as all the things that you've been doing lately?
So yeah, as a digital nomad too, that's a great question.
Can you just elaborate on that for anyone listening who's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So alongside the time when I was like, I'm going to leave this very secure career and start a business, I was like, you know what else would be perfect right now? It would be completely picking up our lives, selling everything that we have and moving around the country. So my husband and I and 2 roommates and 2 dogs and 2 rats are all living as digital nomads, meaning that we are all essentially in the space where we can work remotely and are moving around to different places for 3 months at a time. So we've been in Denver, Colorado. We are now in Bozeman, Montana. We're going to the Northeast after this, and then the South, and then who knows. But any sort of change, big change like that, is definitely jarring to you, and it's really easy to have it shake your confidence as well, because you're in a state of uncertainty, and you're in a space where the ground isn't quite solid all the time underneath you. So I definitely have had to put things in place where I am watching for the effects of that and making sure that I'm not losing my confidence and that I'm not losing that conversation with myself or being in touch with myself. Because with lots of uncertainty, it's also really easy to get into that space of autopilot because it's just safer. You don't have to think too much. And when it comes to like summertime, since that's what we're talking about here, there's just a number of things I think that you can build into your routine that ensure that you're constantly checking in with yourself and that you're constantly in the space where you are taking care of you. I think that's really where this can start, especially when it comes to our bodies and the confidence that we have. A big space that I definitely just want to touch on is social media, because it is so powerful in our lives. I think for a lot of us, we're watching everyone else in the world doing things that we want to do. We're watching in this season, we're seeing lots of bikinis and people on beaches, and they're perfectly curated content. Not a lot of people are showing you all the crap behind the scenes. The people that are beautiful human beings, but it's really easy to think that that's what our lives are supposed to look like. And as someone who's in a season of uncertainty, basically all the time by choice at this point, it's really easy to look at people's put together lives and be like, what? Something's wrong over here. So with social media, especially in this season, I always go through it and try and audit. And I try and catch when I'm consuming somebody's content and if it's making me feel like less, or if it's making me feel like I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or if it's making me question things. I don't think that that's a super healthy space for any of us to stay in, where we're watching other people and we're feeling worse about ourselves, because it's really easy to just get in this cycle where we're doing that constantly. Because so many of us, the first thing we do when we wake up in the morning is pick up our phones and compare our lives to somebody else. So for your own confidence, I think that it's important for us to constantly audit what we're consuming on social media or what we're consuming in media in general, and understanding how those things are making us feel in terms of our confidence, specifically here. If you're consuming somebody's content and it's making you feel like less, it's just time to mute. You don't have to unfollow your family. And it doesn't mean that the person that you are consuming is problematic. It simply means that it's not right for you in this season. So that's a place where I always try and go back to, because it's such a big part of each and every one of our lives, whether we like it or not. And then also just trying to be more present where I am has been really helpful. Just being more in my body, because that's really what confidence at the end of the day is about. Is if we are outside of our body, if we aren't actually in our home, it's really easy for us to lose sight of ourselves and lose sight of the value of our body and the things that it does for us and everything we can appreciate. So I think being a lot more present in your body is a great place to start too. So many of us in the summertime are completely out of our bodies because we feel so uncomfortable. And we're hiding our bodies because we feel so uncomfortable. We're not getting in the pictures because our body doesn't look the way that we want it to. We don't want that to be remembered. But if we all just sat a little bit more in this space, appreciated our bodies for everything they do for us, and realize that you're going to want to look back on this season. You're going to want to look back on all the memories that you're making and all the things that your body's doing for you, because you don't actually know where you're going to be. A lot of us right now, if you're listening and you are privileged enough to have all four limbs and be able to walk around and be in the sun, if you have all of your senses, like that is such a gift that we don't know if we're going to have. So I don't even know if 3 summers from now I could lose both my legs. And gosh, I'm going to look back on these pictures, whether my body looked like perfect or not, and realize, God, I was lucky that I had all 4 limbs. I know that's an extreme example, but that can happen. So I think we can appreciate the little things that our body does for us more and be a lot more present and realize that we are just extremely lucky to be able to do what we can do in this life, regardless of the obstacles that we may have.
I like that you went extreme. I like it, because I think if we can focus on that big thing, it's like when we tell people to focus on like the moment on their deathbed, right? Like that's extreme, but sometimes we have to go that deep because we're so disconnected with who we are and what we're doing, and we just numb more and more and more with food and alcohol. And our phones and all of the pieces. And it's just like that constant disconnect with our body. We're just all in our head, especially when it comes to social media. So I love that that's the focus, just to even like ignore some people, mute some people, unfollow some people, all of those pieces, because whether we realize it or not, they're playing a huge role in our confidence. Like we're letting these people take over our mind, whether it's even for a minute, but like that's a precious minute that you're giving away to this one post or this one person. And yeah, when it comes to body confidence, 1 minute can be a lot, and can really consume you. So it's interesting. And I think too, with that body disconnect, because I have it too, that focusing on putting those numbers down. So I was talking to a client about this just a few hours ago, like if you are waking up and grabbing your phone first thing, like you said, like personally, I think that's a huge no-no. Like you're letting other people dictate the first thought of your day. Like, ew, you are so much more powerful if you focus on what's in your own head before letting other people come into it. And social media is huge for that. And I know for me, the comparison too, just even in the coaching space, right? Like we can look at everybody who's doing all these things and be like, oh yeah, that person's doing this and that person's doing that. Like, that's so cool. I can't believe they're doing that. And like, it's just wild how we can get caught up into it.
Yeah, the comparison piece is huge. And this is a big part of our confidence in our bodies as well, is a body comparison, which we all do to some level. Like I do it too, 100% all the time. It's really easy to do because we are extremely social animals. We're going to look around. I know that we hear often this idea that just don't worry about what other people think, or don't compare yourself to others. It's really easy to give like a blanket statement, like just don't do this, but that's not how we operate. That's not how our mindset works. So I think it's also just catching it and bringing yourself back to a space where you may not be able to control that first thought, but we can shift the second thought. We can shift what we do with the information that we receive from the world. So when it comes to things like comparison, that may be to somebody else online. It can also be from to a former version of you. We do that a lot as well, in a different season. So that's, as we talked about, your body changes in different seasons. It's so easy to look at an older picture of myself and be like, why don't I look like her anymore? You're a completely different woman. And this is true for all the women that you're comparing, or people you're comparing yourself to as well. We have no idea what their life looks like. So I think just as a foundational piece when it comes to this and trying to shift is understanding that there are three things that we kind of can control in terms of our mindset. So what you're focusing on, what meaning that you give what you're focusing on, and then what you're going to do about it, the action you're going to take. So if you think about comparison, for example, if you're looking on social media, it's really easy to see a post of someone and be like, gosh, they have lost all this weight. I'm focusing on that. Like, that's amazing that they lost all this weight. But the meaning that I give it, if I'm in that comparison space, can be something like, I decide that means if they've lost this weight and I also have this goal, it means that I can't do it. It creates this scarcity mindset. It also just tells me they're better than me. There's no way I can get there. It feels too far. Like, I can give it that meaning. And then if I go down that path, the action that I might take is going to get me further from my goal. That's what we forget too. All this comparison, it makes us feel like we have to give up or take a step back or slow down or quit, or we lose the passion that we have. So instead, I think if we look at those three pieces again, we can shift our focus first. So shifting our focus on what we can actually control, because we don't know what their life looks like. I can't control what they're doing. I can control what I'm doing and what I'm focusing on. So shifting our focus back to a place that we can actually control, and deciding that the meaning that we're assigning is actually in line with what we're trying to achieve, rather than this meaning of, if they did it, I can't, or that there's not enough to go around, or I'm never going to get there. And then realizing that the action that we can take is also something in our control. And instead of comparing ourselves to somebody else and getting this feeling of jealousy or envy, we can instead practice cheering other people on. And it might feel really foreign at first. It might feel strange, but I think it's Gretchen Rubin who says, like, act the way that you want to feel. So it might be a little bit of acting at first, but start cheering other people on and realizing that they're an example for you instead of somebody that you have to compete with. It's because we do that with this scarcity mindset where we're like, I'm in competition with you. If you got the goal, if you lost the weight, if you have the six pack, somehow that means that I can't. When we can shift it and say, that's a beautiful example of someone that I admire doing the thing that I would like to do. And now I have someone who's inspiring me. And again, we can bring it right back to the place where we're like, if they're not inspiring me, and if I am continuously feeling like it's sucking the energy out of me, it's time to mute and move on, cheer them on from the sidelines, and move into a space where you're consuming things that are actually feeding the goal that you have rather than pulling you further away from it.
Yeah. And even as you're saying that, I'm just like thinking like it comes very natural to me to cheer other people on. It's very easy for me to do that. It's not as easy for me to cheer myself on. But I've just decided, just right now, you're the first to know. I'm going to pretend, whether it's real or not, just as much as I cheer everyone else on, that they're also cheering me on. Instead of thinking that they're looking at my body like, ooh, she really didn't do much before the summer, right? I'm going to be thinking, they're thinking, for sure, there's no doubt in my mind, sexy AF, she's got a nice butt. Wow, look at that outfit, girl. She don't need no makeup. Like, they're definitely saying that stuff. And just choosing to believe that instead of, oh, they're definitely saying all these really negative things about me, or they're saying, you know, this or that. And we know they're not. Like, the truth is they're in their own head. They're not even thinking anything about us. But I'd rather choose to think that they're thinking great things about me, and not even in like a narcissistic way, just like in an empowering and a loving way, because I'd like those to be the things that I'm thinking about myself.
Yeah. And think about the energy that you will be carrying when you shift to that type of mindset. If you think the world is cheering you on, you are going to be an incredible person to be around. Not that you already aren't. You are an amazing person to be around. But like that level of energy that you'll have because you're just living your life thinking that everyone's cheering you on all the time, like that's powerful. People are drawn to that. Yeah.
Be so cool. I challenge everybody listening to try to switch into that mindset, especially if you're going to the beach and spending some time there, instead of thinking of, oh, I should really cover up. If you want to cover up, like Ashley said, of course, do that. But do it because you want to, not because you feel like the world is out to get you or judging you. They're definitely thinking, if I'm at the beach and I'm looking at you, I'm definitely thinking, hot AF, look at you, girl. I love that outfit on you. So freaking fly. So if you need to have my voice in your head, please do. But do what feels best for you.
Yeah. And you may be, the thing I think we forget too is that you are standing there sometimes, like we are all doing this where we're like, I'm self-conscious. This bathing suit was a little bit of a stretch for me. I don't know if I feel like I look good in it, whatever, like that might be going through your head. But the girl sitting under towel watching you may be like, oh my God, she looks amazing in that. I'm inspired now to wear the bikini that I'm afraid of to wear tomorrow or something. Like you are actually inspiring a lot more people than you think you are, because we just don't hear it. We just don't realize that. And our brain is very good at looking towards the negative. So it's really easy for our brain to go, nope, they're actually looking at me because they think I look horrible or that I don't belong here or whatever else. When in reality, a lot of time, especially amongst women who are supportive of each other, they're like, no, that's amazing. Like, look how strong she looks. Look how amazing she is. Look how confident she is in that bathing suit. Like, I don't feel like I could ever wear that, but maybe I could now, because I'm seeing an example of somebody doing that same thing.
Yeah, girl. Yeah. I love that. So freaking good. Can we pivot here in our chat today?
Yes,
Ashley's down for a good changing it up. I really want to chat about the Empower Her Good to Great panel.
Yeah.
Yeah. A few weeks ago, I called Ashley screaming my head off.
She did.
And she looked at me like I was a crazy person. You think by now she would know after we've been friends for so long. But I remember calling you. There's this. Okay, so let's give it a little background. There's this event coming up called Empower Her Live. And Ashley and I were both at it last year. It was our first time actually meeting in person. And it's a wonderful event encouraging women to be themselves and to, stand in their truth and to, work on different skills and just focus on community and connection and being your best self. And I don't know about you, but like that is my jam. I love that. And they had this opportunity to apply to speak on the stage. And last year, Ashley and I both applied, and we were just talking about this before. It was kind of like on a whim. I really wanted it last year, but the timing wasn't right and we didn't get it. We're going again to this conference this year, and Ashley and I both applied to the panel again because why the heck not? And we both got it. Out of, I don't know how many, but 5 women were chosen to speak on this stage. And Ashley and I both got it. And that day that it was announced, I opened my phone, I think after a live episode or something, Sisterhood Q&A, I think. And I opened my phone and I just saw that I was tagged in a post. And I saw it and all I saw was Ashley and I. And I just put my phone down and ran screaming. And I think I FaceTimed you screaming. And you looked at me and you're like, oh, congratulations, Jess, you got it. It's just celebrating other women. Love that for you, Ashley. And I just looked at you and I was like, no, we got it. Like, we both got it. We are doing this together. And then I kind of had this mini like, oh my God, I did see Ashley's face there, right? Oh my God, I did see my face also there, right? Like, is this a dream? Like, is this really happening? No, I'm pretty sure we both got it. And yeah, so it was a wild moment.
Yeah, I that morning, because I had this like feeling with this one when I applied that I was meant to be, on that stage. So I was very nervous about it because I was attached to that idea. And I'm sure everyone else can relate to this. Like my brain tends to be like, you didn't get it. Let's just protect yourself and say like, no, there's no way that happened. So I wasn't even looking because I checked at the exact time that they said that it would come out. And when it didn't immediately come out at that exact second, I was like, okay, well, I'm just not going to look because there's no way.
I'm done. Out of here. Bye.
Yeah. So Jess called me minutes later and I saw her like FaceTiming me and I'm like, oh, Jess must have gotten on the panel. That's so great. I also thought it was weird that you were FaceTiming me. So there was like
also,
a little
don't
part
you
of
think
me.
that's a little weird? Like, why would I call you if I got it?
Yeah. I don't know, because you know that I would celebrate with you and be very excited for you.
Of course. You were a great friend.
But I think I also knew somewhere, but I needed the confirmation, which Jess is, if you ever need news delivered to you in a positive way, have Jess call you because she'll call you screaming. Yeah. Which is the energy that I needed because other people in our lives, like, I don't know if it's the same for you, but not everyone gets what this means, I guess, to you and I. So it's really cool to have somebody that you also have just grown with this whole time to celebrate with, because you bring a whole other level to hype in this space for sure.
In that moment, for sure. I was like, I scared all the animals in the house. The dog was going wild. It was like a moment of, I was so excited that I got it. And I feel emotionally messed. I was way more excited that I was going to get to do this with you and that you and I were going to get to sit up there together. Cause like, it's exciting to do it. I wanted it, but it's way more exciting to be able to do it sitting beside someone who you love so much. And I just think that that's going to be the coolest thing. So when I saw our two faces there, I couldn't not react like that. I was just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then I had to FaceTime you. So I was so glad you didn't see the news already and I got to deliver it to you because it was just so fun.
Yeah.
And so for those of you who don't get it, are just like, what are you talking about? Like, this is a big deal for anyone in this space. Like, getting to stand on this stage and to share your story, even if it's just for a brief moment, is, to me, is just going to be, I don't know, so expansive and so fun. And getting to do it beside you is just so cool.
Yeah.
So,
and the fact that you're talking about like that we both applied the previous year as well. I don't think that version of me, she wasn't ready for this. It wasn't time. Like, as much as I would have loved to have been picked, it wasn't the right time. And to think too, like exactly what you're saying, that it's so special that we're both there. It was just over a year ago at this point that I threw on a random post in this community and was like, guys, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I feel like I'm completely lost. I don't know who I am. Can someone help me, please? And Jess was like, I can help. Didn't know who Jess was.
No, actually, I didn't. It was Emily. Emily was
right.
Like, hey, you should contact Jess. She's my coach. She's super cool.
Shout out to Emily.
Emily, we love you so much.
Yes.
And just to think like the three of us where we are being together at Empower Her last year was so fun. And the three of us going to be at Empower Her again is just so cool. And just, it was in a community page for, this podcast that we listen to. And so it all started there. So to be there and to be where we're going is just like, really exciting. And I'm so, so, so glad that I get to do this with you. And I know someone listening right now is like, I don't know what the heck you guys are talking about, these weird cult things that you go to. Oh my gosh, you crazy people. But what would you say to the woman who's listening and they're considering coming to an event like this or considering coming to Empower Her with us in Denver, September 22nd to 24th? Like, what would you say to this person who wants to come but is scared to go alone?
Yes. One, it's the best cult that you could be part of. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is a cult, but it's a really good one. Nobody gets hurt. Everyone gets better. Everyone grows.
Isn't that what everyone says though when they're in a cult?
Yes, but this is the good one. I'm telling you.
Speaking from experience.
I've been in not great cults. Just kidding.
When we talked about pivots, Ashley's pivots.
But really, honestly, this community in general that this is built on, because this event is based on this community built from another podcast, Empower Her, that since I've been part of, and especially since last year's event, my life has completely changed. What you listened to in our first interview together versus now, I attribute a ton of that to the event that I went to last year, because even if you're afraid to go alone, I essentially went alone. I did go alone, but I barely knew Jess. I was like, I kind of know you. I mean, we talked over Zoom, but I never saw you in person, right? Like, I didn't have anyone that I really knew all that well, especially face to face. And going to that event, I left with this insane group of women that are my friends now. And as a woman in her 30s, I didn't think that was going to happen for me. I was always the person that was like, I'm just not someone who has friends, very introverted. And as an introvert as well, like if you are afraid because you're like, I'm going solo and I'm introverted, this is the space for you, because there are so many women in that room that are trying to go in a similar direction to you. There's a bunch of people who actually get it. The idea that you want more, that thing that you're questioning, if you say it in a room of women like this, everyone in the room goes, oh yeah, but I think you can do bigger. I think you can do more than that. And here's how we're going to support you. Like, the support that I have, the friendships that I have, and the community that I've built simply from putting myself in rooms like this is the reason that I'm here, is the reason that I've grown to the point that I have. And I still have a ton more growing, but I know that I get to do it because I have a trail of women here with me, supporting me all the time, that was built on a community like this. So even if you are alone, you won't leave alone. So this is 100% the space that you need to be in.
Yeah, I love that. Even if you go alone, you're not leaving alone. And I knew people like you, like I knew people going, not people that I met necessarily face to face either, but like I was so anxious going to this event. Like I had so much anxiety that I was going to like come up to someone and they'd be like, hey, Jess. And then I wouldn't know who they were, or I wouldn't know their name, and like, I just had so much anxiety around, I don't know, the connections that I was going to meet. And even throughout the weekend, like meeting so many amazing people, my anxiety was still there. And so if you're a person who's anxious and you're just like, oh, an introvert, me too, girl. And you're just like, I don't know if that's a space for me. I promise you, if you step into it, it will change your life. And having these connections and these friendships 100% have made my life so much better. And just like Ashley, have gotten me to where I am because people believe in me when I don't always believe in myself. It makes a huge difference. So consider coming to see Ashley and I speak on the panel, which is so freaking cool. And just consider doing something for yourself that might be way out of your comfort zone, but so worth it if you are looking to grow in any way.
Yeah. You don't grow in your comfort zone anyway.
You don't.
You might as well step out of it at an event like this.
Yeah.
Because you'll have a bunch of people supporting you.
100%. And if Ashley's growth, even in the last 6 months to a year, is any testament to this, and also my growth in the last year, it's been fast and furious. It just tells you what getting in a room like this and surrounding yourself with people like this can make a difference. If you're someone who has no support in their life, your spouse doesn't get it, your family doesn't get it, you're in a small town that just will never understand you wanting more than, you know, working in the factory, whatever, you got to just get out of your comfort zone and come to a place like this. Cause being able to pick up my phone and text whoever or FaceTime Ashley screaming my head off, is a gift. And I know not everybody has it, and you won't get it unless you go find it.
100%.
Yeah.
I want to see you there. So tell us that you're coming. I want to see
you there. Yeah. I want to see you there. I want to hug you. I want to slap your butt. I'm excited.
She will too. The last time she dove off of a stage and basically tackled me.
Yeah, I did.
So she will hug you and aggressively do so, which is a good thing. Introverts, don't be scared.
Don't be scared. It's okay. And I probably will do it again. I'm really excited to do it again. See how much stronger you've gotten. Because last time you planted on the ground pretty fast after I jumped off a stage, you didn't catch me. So maybe this year
we'll do like a dirty dancing moment this time.
Yeah, maybe we'll see if you've gotten stronger and you can catch me.
Oh, I'm training for it.
Can't wait. Can you tell our listeners where they can connect with you online and what they can expect from your social media pages and from your podcast?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook at Ashley O Show, which is also the name of my podcast. It's the Ashley O Show. You can find that anywhere where you listen to podcasts. We, on social media and in the podcast, we are really talking about changing the conversation around health and what it means to be healthy. We're also big on challenging the status quo in the health industry. I don't do the way things have always been done. We don't do that in our space. So there's lots of spicy posts, lots of tactical things that you can actually bring into your life that are going to help support you and support your health. We're going to debunk a lot of myths as well around health and fitness. I'm not big on restriction. I'm not big on anything else, like I've said in this podcast this episode. So I would love to see you there. You belong in our space, and if you come over, please send me a message because I'd love to connect with you too.
I love it. I love everything that Ashley's doing and everything she stands for, and just learning from you has been so helpful lately as I transition into big and ambitious things, but also knowing that my health is still important. So it's probably the most important. So I need to focus on that. And I'm grateful to have someone who reminds me of that in your content. So we're going to ask the same questions that we ask every guest that comes on the podcast. And since you've already been here, I wonder if they're going to be the same or if they're going to be different.
I don't remember them, so they're probably going to be different.
Great. I can't wait. What is your favorite compliment to receive?
I think this is the same. I love to receive the compliment that I am strong because it's something I strive for now. As a person who used to really be focused on being skinny, now I love when somebody tells me that I am strong.
You are strong. Like, I can see your traps popping out of your shirt there, and I'm like, ooh, look at that strength over there.
Thank you.
So good. What is your favorite thing to do to boost your mood when you're feeling grumpy?
I love to get outside, movement in general. I think this was the same answer too. Somebody go back and check.
So a lot has changed in her life, but these answers have not changed.
These are consistent. Movement always gets me out of a funk, because if I sit in my funk and if I sit in the crappy feelings, they're not going to go anywhere. So I have to move out of it. And movement is also where I process the most. If I'm with someone, that's when I can have hard conversations. So movement is how I get out of a funk.
Oh yeah, I love that. And do you have a song or quote that boosts your confidence?
I'm going to go with song because I'm obsessed with a new artist right now. So I'm very excited about that. It's an artist. He's an artist called Ren, R-E-N. And he really personifies the struggle of mental health or mental illness in such an incredible way. Super powerful. So his music overall is really motivating to me and helps boost my mood, even though it can be a dark topic, because it brings light to something that not a lot of people are talking about. So Ren, specifically the song Hi Ren. Fantastic.
Okay. I'll check it out. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley, for spending some time with us today and talking all about body confidence and sometimes things that we can be quite insecure with. And to have someone like you that's speaking out about it is really, really helpful. So thank you for doing what you're doing and for loving on us and for showing the world what beautiful and strong women look like and act like.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope that you got something out of this, that it spoke to you, and just know that your body's always on your side.
Yeah. I can't wait to jump on you in a few short months.
Me neither. I'll catch you.
We'll find out. We'll find out. See ya, empower her.
See ya.
What's up, sis? I am so glad we could hang out today. If you love this episode, send it to a friend or share it on your social media and tag me so I can personally thank you for helping me sprinkle some confidence in the world. And don't forget, you are magic. Let's show the world your shine.